Andy Humphrey and Brenden Schaefer here. Anything big happening today? Anything you want to talk about at all?
I got a couple things on the mind, yeah.
Like what? Like nothing as far as, Chiefs news or things like that, I don't think. Or Mizzou news.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought we were going to talk about the actual sporting stuff. But yeah, there is some stuff about that too in tangentially related to Chiefs world news. How about that?
I mean, are you ready for it?
Oh, come on. Of all the choices, of all the options you could have gone with, we get an "Are you ready for it?"
I know. Well, you have a better one?
No, but better? I wasn't really trying today. I'm laser focused on the Mizzou quarterback news we got within the past hour.
Yeah,
that's really about what I'm looking at.
That is certainly a big thing that we will get to here very soon. And gosh, that other news that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are getting engaged. They had to announce that on the same day that we're revealing number 2 and number 1 on our Taking Flight in 25, powered by Yingling. Like, come on, people.
Crazy.
Wait till tomorrow. Let us do that first.
Let us have a day. You know?
I mean, seriously. So we will still reveal. We will soldier on anyway. 5:05. Number 2 and number 1 revealed on our list of the most important Mizzou football players to 2025. So we'll get to that. We'll also talk about the players that just missed out on that list at 5:25. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. You can also tweet us at KTGR Big Show and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now the Big Show's Big Deal.
I mean, it is a pretty big deal. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift getting engaged. That news dropped just after noon today as the Chiefs get ready for their season on NFL Cutdown Day today. But certainly happy news. Congratulations to the now betrothed Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. On the Mizzou front, pretty big news there too. Pete Thamel of ESPN reporting that Bo Prabula will start the game on Thursday against Central Arkansas and play the first half. Sam Horn will play the second half. We saw something similar in 2023 between Brady Cook and Sam Horn. Eli Drinkwitz wouldn't share his quarterback plan on Saturday, but looks like we're hearing a little bit about what it will probably be from Pete Thamel of ESPN today. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 26th day of August 2025. You can call or text us here at 875-KTGR to tell us what you think about that Mizzou quarterback news for today. Really? Why are we doing it like this?
I'm going to let you talk first because I know that I tend to sometimes bring an approach that you don't always agree with. So I'm going to let you have the opportunity to tell me what you think this means if we're taking Pete Thamel at his word, which I'm going to let you know that you should.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he usually does not get things wrong, right?
Not about Mizzou.
No.
His source can be trusted with Mizzou.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this, Andy? Because we have said that if you go half by half, feels a lot like 2023 felt. And we know what kind of quarterback competition that ended up being. We advocated that if there's truly zero separation between Sam Horn and Bo Prabula, you got to give both a look with the starters on the field. You got to give both a look in this game when the game is still hanging in the balance. Per Pete Thamel's report, that isn't the way they're going to approach it. Your thoughts?
Bo Prabula is probably the starter then. Like, that's how you treat this if you're going to go first half, second half. Like, if you are, in fact, going to really let both guys essentially show what they can do against the top defense on the other side, it's not to say that the defense itself is of high caliber, but it's the best they got. Like, it's the best you got to try and see what both quarterbacks are in a game day situation. If you're going to do that, then you let them both play in the first half. And however you want to split them up, fine. But No, that's not what they're doing. So I would think that if they're going to treat it the same way as 2023, then I will try not to be duped twice by this and say like,
There you
they're
go.
actually going to be a competition as to how they go. No, I mean, if this is how they're going to set it up, Prabula in the first half, Horn in the second half, well, I mean, very clearly Prabula would have the lead in this sense, like that just taking the first snap probably solidifies that. But if you are really going to evaluate and you're still going to let Sam Horn win the job based on what he can do in that game, well, then you give him first team reps. And that means playing in the first half of the game. Plain and simple.
And that's not what they're doing because Pete Thamel said it's not. And again, I trust his source. So what does that mean about what this quarterback competition was? Because you'll famously recall, I told you there wasn't one. And then we insisted
well, that's
all
not
throughout
right.
camp.
Like it still was one. Like it still was.
Hold on. Slow down. Let me get it out. All right. I told you there wasn't one. I told you Bo Prabula would be the starter. If this ends up the same as 2023, will you acknowledge to me that 2023 wasn't really to the nail competition to the end?
Well,
like they made it out to be?
Not to the end. I could.
When did it end?
Probably sometime during camp.
Okay. When did this competition end?
Probably sometime during camp.
Thank you. So it is the same, though, in many regards.
Yeah,
You
I
can't
mean,
tell me it's different if this is what they're doing. You cannot tell me that this was genuine, zero separation. Prabula's the starter, and for the most part, he always was going to be. We can finally admit it now. We're free. We're free from whatever weirdness this was. I don't know why we decided to do it this way.
Because they had a combined
but
0 college starts between each other, and that wasn't the case with the competition 2 years ago. So actually, there is a reason to acknowledge this as more of a competition than it was 2 years ago. There absolutely is. Like the evidence is all there. It can still end up the same way of us saying that the guy we all thought to be the starter ends up being the start. That's fine. Doesn't mean that the competition never existed, and it doesn't mean that it was more heated potentially than it was 2 years ago. They can still be separated as their own things.
Yeah, but we were told zero separation. Clearly, that's not true. You're going to acknowledge that, right? I mean, it's just
there can be less
demonstrably
separation
false.
than there was 2 years ago, for sure.
No, I'm talking. I mean, there was zero separation a week ago. That was what the word was. That wasn't true. And that's okay, but I'm not going to pretend like it is something that it's not.
Well, we won't take it at the word of Drinkwitz saying that it's essentially 50-50. Like that.
Yeah.
I've said that it's probably not 50-50. There's probably some fractions in between the two, and what one guy does a little bit better versus the other one, and then the give and take between that. Like no, I did not expect this to be 50-50.
It's very clear, though, now.
It's more clear now. Yeah.
What this was.
For
which,
sure.
again, it could, again, if I'm a little surprised, actually. This is the first time I've been surprised in this entire thing because I told you all of camp in December, I told you Prabula would be the starter. And then all of camp, I was like, all right, they're insisting it's a real competition. Okay, if that's the case, let's take it to its logical conclusion. Give both guys a look in the first half when it's meaningful, and then I'll believe you. But we're not going to see that. Prabula was the guy with the edge, whether that's an edge in performance or just an edge in like some will say, oh, yeah, I knew it since the NIL. Well, whatever it ends up being is what it is. But clearly, if they're not having Sam Horn play the first half, I hope they let him throw the football because they really didn't do much of that in 2023. I guess Sam Horn is cool with the way that's playing out. I just can't now, seeing Pete Thamel's report, I cannot imagine it being anybody else but Bo Prabula, which was kind of already true, but now I'm emboldened in that stance because they're not even going to let Sam Horn play in the first half, which is fine. You know what happened 2 years ago? They didn't let Sam Horn play in the first half, and Brady Cook was the right decision. I believe the right decision is ultimately being made here. The winding path and the preference of doing it this way is interesting to me. I don't know the rhyme or reason. I mean, Drinkwitz, after 2023's South Dakota game, stood at the podium and said, we got to look at the tape to figure it out. Like, that was baloney. It's okay to say that was baloney. Like, they knew what it was going to be. Why we insist on doing it again this time, I don't know. But I'll give Drink his credit on this. The guy never winks. He doesn't wink, right? He says the thing, and then there's no just kidding. Like, he's insisting that this is what it is. So, like, in some world, all we're left to do is take him at his word. But if he would wink, then we would know for sure what it is. He's not going to wink because he's too good at this. He's too good at this. And that's what tells me for sure. The part about like obfuscating a little bit for Kansas, that was not a 0%er in this conversation as well. Once you got this close, you might as well just kind of leave up some doubt and say, we're going to play both guys. We're going to let it go. Purbulla playing the whole first half, he's starting against Kansas. They won't say it today. They won't say it Thursday, but he is.
I would at least hope that Sam Horn gets more chances to throw on
Me
Thursday,
too.
right? Which, I mean, if he does get more chances to throw, and let's say he throws it pretty darn well, like
Purbulla would have to turn it over multiple times in his half. You know what I mean?
happen. Never know.
No, it definitely could happen.
Right.
And that it's interesting. If it's 10 to 7 Central Arkansas at halftime, and Purbulla exits and Horn comes in and they win the game handily, well, surely Sam Horn is your starter at that point, right? It would just be a really weird way to do it when we don't expect that score. We don't expect Sam Horn's opportunities in the second half to be happening under any sort of duress or realism. Like, it's technically a game environment, and that's what they said they wanted from both guys. But that's not really the game environment that we're expecting in the second half.
No. And there will be probably a whole lot of handoffs in the second half just because you want to not get guys hurt.
Right.
And you don't want to stretch your defense more in multiple possessions to the point where if you're throwing a bunch and you're stopping the clock or you're getting chunks of yards and you're scoring a little more quickly against whoever might be on the other side, well, then your defense is out there again for maybe an extra possession that you don't really want them out there for. The other thing that's tough with this is that, well, are we going to see Matt Zowers? Like,
no.
I would like to see.
We will not.
Like, both quarterbacks do the job of building up the lead well enough so that you can throw the true freshman out there and just see what he's got. Like, that's also, I think, a downside to this, that we don't see what could be coming after, but probably best case scenario this season. And then Zowers competes next year as a redshirt guy for the starting job, but probably won't get to see that. And that's, I think, also a bummer.
Yeah, and we talked briefly about this last week where I said I don't think it's a given that we see Zollers, and this is kind of what I meant. It wasn't a given that we end up seeing both guys in the first half and then decide a quarterback competition based on that. This was always, I guess, a possibility, Andy. It seemed like a way they wouldn't do it again because we all saw through it the first time, but they're doing it again, it sounds like. And because of that, and look, I'll retract it all, Andy, if we see Sam Horn run the offense and it ends up being like kind of equitable and you can evaluate what he did against what Bo Purbulla did. But I think you're going to see an obvious difference in the way the game is handled from a game script perspective with the backup quarterback in the game. That's what's going to happen. Sam Horn's your backup quarterback this year. And I think that'll be reflected in the way that Thursday plays out. If I'm wrong and he gets a legit shot and plays, drops back for 25 throws and Purbulla does that in the first half, then I'll go, well, different than what I thought we'd get. I'll tell you Friday, be here at 4:00 Friday, but I don't expect to have to tell you that at 4:00 on Friday.
Yeah. And the way that it's set up, it doesn't seem to give Sam Horn the best chance to showcase what he can do in a first team setting. And so, look, if Eli Drinkwitz certainly believes that he can see what he needs to see out of Sam Horn to evaluate him in the second half, great. I don't see that right now. He probably knows more than me. But look, there's still just all this back and forth between, like, was this a competition? Was this not? I still believe it was.
All right.
Still believe it was closer than 2 years ago between these two. Someone was always going to take the first snap. So I would have predicted that was going to be Bo Purbulla anyway.
Definitely.
Just a little, like, if Sam Horn's really in this, just disappointed that he's not getting first quarter snaps in some way, shape, or form.
He's not in it. I hate to say it, which is what I expected and said all along. I just thought if we were going to go this far with it, it is a little bit surprising to see them not take it all the way into the game. Is there any realm in which they just think this is the best way to evaluate two quarterbacks? I can't imagine that that's true.
There's a little bit of one, I would think. I don't know how Eli Drinkwitz does it or not. Like, if there have been different ways that he's done it in the past, I don't know. Certainly hasn't been a head coach much longer than he's been the head coach at Mizzou, so we don't have a whole lot of ways to figure that out. But it would seem, at least to me, a little odd, assuming that you're going to build up a lead regardless of who the quarterback is out there in the first half, to the point where, yeah, we know who's winning this game. Now we're just going to play out the rest of the contest here in the second half, just make sure nobody gets hurt, things of that nature. So, look, I'm sure there's a realm of possibility that he believes he can get a fair, honest evaluation of Sam Horn in the second half. I don't know if I see it. So we'll see what the rhetoric is behind it. Like, I kind of saw through a lot of the rhetoric behind it directly after the game, because like there was I'm talking about 2 years ago.
2023. Yeah.
2023, when he was immediately asked on the field by the TV reporter, like, what'd you think? And, kind of compared the points scored between Brady and Sam at the time. And then said a bunch about Brady Cook in the press conference, about the type of leader he is and things like that. Then he was asked, it sounds like you have a quarterback. And it's like, well, no, we don't.
He said we got to check the tape.
You could tell still that the way it was being talked about in different questions when he wasn't directly asked about it, like, yeah, he really likes Brady Cook, and that's probably the starter. That can still lend a little bit of information into how he feels about right afterwards. And again, we're talking about all of this before we even know what happens in the game too. So, like, yeah, we can still leave a little room for, there's a possibility maybe Sam Horn plays himself more into this discussion despite being in the second half and not getting first half reps. But it seems like that's an uphill battle for him.
Because of this alignment. Again, I would not be coming on here today to say all this if it weren't for the Pete Thamel report, which is accurate, that this is the way that they're going to approach it. If we, if we went into the game going, we kind of still expect to see both guys, and we don't really know beyond that what we're really going to get, we would have been waiting to see, okay, like, how does it break down? Do both guys see first team reps? What's the score when they're in there? How do they perform? I don't think we can really even get to the how do they perform part of this if it's truly going to end up as, Bo's playing the whole first half, and it's, I just don't know what the way, short of Perbula just going out there and absolutely falling on his face, that it's not him against Kansas. But I just want to remind people that even though you're saying, Andy, now that 2 years ago you saw through it in how Drinkwitz described postgame what he saw, I mean, we can play the clip. He didn't admit it even after the South Dakota game was over in the way that he was asked about, do you have your quarterback? And he gave all these words about needing to evaluate the tape. And, Sam remember the interception that was off the hands of the receiver? And it was completely on the receiver. And to that, he said, well, maybe did he throw it a little bit behind him? And that was part of it. I got to check the tape. Like, that wasn't on Sam Horn. I don't think he was trying to throw Sam Horn under the bus, but he was just saying a lot of words to imply a quarterback competition that flat out wasn't there. And so until I see the distribution of opportunity go different on Thursday, if I'm expecting first half, second half, the only thing I have to kind of look back to as evidence is 2023, which just wasn't an even Steven competition. This was labeled in 25 as even because of your point that neither had started a game before, which was totally true, but it's playing out the same way until it doesn't, because we, seeing first half, second half, can only look back to 2023 and go, well, we know that wasn't real. That competition didn't go into game one as an even Steven. And if it had, you would have saw it play out differently. If we see this one play out differently in terms of opportunity, I'll retract and say, well, clearly this was the difference because you let Sam Horn, run the offense. I just don't expect them to do that based on telling us he's going to play in the second half only.
And it would be tough to open up the playbook so much in that second half based on the nature of the game. Like,
it's hardly worth it when you're up, multiple scores, hopefully. That's not like the safe way to approach it when you've got a game against Kansas the following week. You cannot get somebody unnecessarily banged up so that you can support a quarterback competition that seemingly is already decided. If you had gone a couple drives or a quarter for this guy, a quarter for that guy, and said this is kind of the ones and they're 1A, 1B, that's different. Your starter's going to play the first half and your backup is going to play the second half. We pretended it was a quarterback competition. Until I see differently from Thursday, it's what I always said it was. And I'm not going to kind of waver on that.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR with your thoughts on how the quarterback competition is reportedly going to break down for Mizzou football in that first game. Bo Prabula getting the first half, Sam Horn getting the second half, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN. Hey, good job. We had a segment that didn't include Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift.
Yeah, mostly. We did kind of bring it up at the beginning.
Just slightly.
A little bit.
Gave people
we mostly talk sports.
A quick break about it. But hey, big sports news. Like that. I will say this. If you don't think it's sports news, like you're out of your mind. It's sports news. Like Travis Kelce getting engaged to one of the most popular people ever. Like it was It was sports news when Joe DiMaggio was getting married to Marilyn Monroe all the way back when, I'm sure. Like that matters. It's news. So for people saying, oh man, I got to hear about Taylor Swift again. Well, yeah, because your favorite team, probably if you're in Missouri, if you follow the Chiefs, you got to hear more about it. That's the gig now with this sort of thing. I don't know, but we'll see. 875-KTGR to call or text us here on the Big Show to get your thoughts in on the engagement, which now only have to speculate about when the wedding's going to be. There were jokes about when it might be, when like all the news is getting buried today, including the MLB schedule release for 2026. Like,
man, more home openers in March. Can't wait for that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But there was an interesting Cardinals and Royals, one of their series, the one that's in Kansas City, mid-June, I believe. It's kind of set up like that series was this past weekend in Tampa. It's like Thursday, Friday, Sunday, no game Saturday. And everyone was like, is that the day? Oh boy, mark your calendars.
No, it's actually something far dumber, I'm sure.
No, it's not dumber. It's a lot better, actually. It's because
okay.
Arrowhead Stadium has a World Cup game that day. And
it's soccer.
So that's the main
Definitely
reason
not.
why.
Yeah.
But hey, could be the day. You never know. I mean, still need to clear your schedule if you're a Chiefs fan, obviously, for that big day.
I don't think we're invited. I got to say, I don't think Chiefs Kingdom is invited to the ceremony.
Why not?
I think you're going to find out it happened later, and there will be one exclusive person who signs an NDA to take pictures of it.
Well, we'll see how big or small of a ceremony it is, or how big it ends up being, even if the two people involved that are actually getting married want it to be small, but it probably won't be. Call or text us here at 875-KTGR. Lots to get to, but we will also talk injuries with the injury expert Will Carroll next, as we'll dive into some key ones with the Cardinals as they wind down their season entering the final month. Jack Caglione still rehabbing. Could he return for the Royals? And a lot more with the injury expert Will Carroll here on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brenden continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
For months now, you've been staring at that broken door, cracked drywall, and drafty windows. It's time to face it. You need help, and help is easy. Just call Bax Homeworks and let their handyman team knock out your list. Fast, clean, and right. From minor fixes to major jobs, Bax makes it easy to finally finish what you've been avoiding. Schedule your free estimate with Bax Homeworks today, and find them on Facebook or at baxhomeworks.com. Bax Homeworks, getting your to-do list done.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialists, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Missouri, get ready! DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is coming soon to the Show Me State. Later this football season, you'll be able to bet same-game parlays, money lines, props, and more right here in Missouri. Whether you're backing Kansas City to dominate on Sundays or sweating your basketball picks, DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you want to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning-fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when we go live in Missouri, you'll be betting from home with the top-rated sportsbook trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and ready to deliver the action like never before. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code KTGR now to gear up for launch in Missouri. Be the first in line for exclusive promos and can't-miss offers. That's code KTGR in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements.
The Tigers kick off their every single home game all season long. Come find us at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate to play games, score prizes, and connect with Missouri's best team of cannabis aficionados. Whether you're repping black and gold or just here for the tailgate vibes, Shangri-La is bringing community, fun, and a little extra spark to your game day. Find us, say hi, and let's celebrate the season together. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
The newest Louisville Slugger for your slugger, $449. 2 nights in a KC hotel for a weekend tournament, $580. A new set of golf irons for your mental health. How much? Sports are crazy expensive, so head to Play It Again Sports to trade in your used gear for cash. You'll save big on gently used equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and more. Whether you're a parent in travel ball or a golfer who just wants their ball to travel past the first tee box, Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com. It was 2 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. He was a regular customer of Brian's, but he was confused. Out of breath, the man shouted, "You're offering a lifetime warranty on water heaters? I just told my wife about this. We've never clapped for plumbing before." Brian smiled, chuckled, and confirmed it was all true. They are indeed offering a full lifetime warranty for your next water heater. Hey, maybe you'll clap for plumbing too. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
We're back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brenden here as we now bring on the injury expert, Will Carroll, to talk all things injuries, especially when it comes to Major League Baseball, about to enter the final month of the season and playoff races start to heat up. You can follow Will with his Under the Knife newsletter, undertheknife.substack.com. And Will, with the Cardinals, trying to get a little bit healthier towards the end of the season. Not sure how much it will mean to push for a race or anything, but they do want to try and finish the season strong. It's interesting how the Nolan Arenado situation has developed, or how little we maybe know about how it could conclude eventually. How do you see it now, as he's still rehabbing in Florida? And we've talked about how odd that situation has been, but what are you hearing on Arenado's situation as it stands now?
Yeah, he's throwing again, so that's a plus. Now he's hitting and throwing. We haven't heard a whole lot about it just because there's evidently not a lot to update. He's continuing with his program. When he's ready, he will. Nobody seems to be in any rush. A lot of times players want to push their way back to be able to show off, especially right now, with the management transition, with there being some really good young players in the organization. This is a time where people want to be able to show, hey, I can be part of this organization next year. or showcase themselves for another franchise. Say, hey, that's a guy we could go and get, or for a guy, there are going to be some non-tendered off this team. But I'll be very curious to see exactly where things go. But with Arenado, he's under contract. He's at the end of his career. He's got the no trade clause, so he has some measure of control, and we'll see how this plays out. But I don't want to say that this isn't me saying he's being lazy or that the Cardinals don't want him back. It's just a situation where there's just no reason to push this. If he comes back and he's bad, that's not good for anybody. If he comes back and re-injures himself, that's not good for anybody. So this is one of those where it sort of works out that he can heal up and they can get a look at some infielders as well.
And there are other Cardinals certainly dealing with injuries right now. Well, let's start with Victor Scott here, Will. He crashed into the wall, which ended up in an ankle situation, I believe, for Vic. What do you know about his situation? As the Cardinals are kind of in this spot where you'd love to get guys back if they're healthy, but you also, as you said, don't want to rush anybody in a season that looks like it's not really going anywhere.
Well, Scott's a guy who needs to be in a rush because he needs to show that his one skill, which is speed, one plus skill at least, is going to help them. We've seen speed be a bigger part of the game across since the rule changes. Defensively, he should be a plus defender. Instead, he's just kind of average. He needs to get back and show that he's another one of these. When you've got all these pieces and parts, which of them are you going to bring back? Which you say, you know what, we're going to bring up a couple of these young kids that have been doing really well. I think they were rated in the top 10 when ESPN did their very recent prospect rankings. So this is just an organization in flux. And it'll be interesting to see exactly how it goes. But for a player like Scott, you are on the bubble, basically. So you want to get back. But if you rush back with an ankle sprain, it's not going to be good for a guy with exactly that skill set.
And the Cardinals are also without Brendan Donovan right now. But I'm honestly more curious for your take on Mason Wynn, who has been dealing with a knee soreness, some knee pain. And there's even talk that there might need to be a cleanup procedure of some sort, but not anything that he wants to happen until the offseason. The Cardinals aren't really going anywhere, but Will, I do think there's an element of this where Mason Wynn is looking at a very decent possibility of a Gold Glove right now. How do you view that? And I guess the potential to make a knee situation that has been plaguing him for a while worse if he continues to play through it and go for that Gold Glove.
Yeah, that's the thing, is he does have things to play for. The personal stuff, he's heading into arbitration, so he wants to have all those things, and it's not like the Cardinals want to hold him back from those either, because he has been one of the few players that's really come up and locked himself into a position for a number of years, it feels like. He's a guy, we've seen a couple recent contracts very early with Roman Anthony and Sam Basayo, locking those guys up early. I'm a little surprised that Wynn isn't one of those that somebody would want to lock up through their arbitration years and maybe a little bit beyond. So with his knee, they've been managing it, and it just got a little bit out of whack. Sometimes when you're just getting somebody through pain, there's little things you're doing, and then one thing kind of knocks it out. It was sore. They sat him. He'll be back. He is going to need a cleanup procedure. There's no question about that. He's one of those guys who'll be heading to the surgeon the day after the season. But here's the other thing about that. Sometimes the end of the season is before the games stop. Sometimes they just say, you know what? Why wait? Let's just go get this done. You'll see this happen a lot. I do think Wynn is right there. There's some good shortstops in the league. I'm also curious why we still do American League, National League, especially with all the talk from Manfred about realignment, which should happen. But I do think Wynn is in that conversation. That's one of the reasons he's played through this.
Will Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. On the Royals side, one of their young, exciting players for the future, Jack Caglione, has been rehabbing himself in AAA Omaha. And look, there was an injury involved with it, but it's also maybe a chance for him after struggling in his first taste of the big leagues to get the rhythm back again. But how do you maybe view Caglione and how the Royals might use him for the final month of the season when they're kind of still in the race themselves? They've at least tried to keep them in it as much as possible, but how does that affect Caglione, you think?
It's interesting because there's a couple of things here. He's hit pretty well while on his rehab assignment. I said they weren't going to rush him back from it. There's just no reason to. They went out and made a couple of trades that made it possible for them to let him have that long 20-day rehab. He's got, I think, another week before that's up. He's hitting well. And it actually made me think, we often use it as a pejorative to say somebody's a quad A player. They're the guy who's really good at AAA and could be a lifer there like we used to actually have. But, they never quite make the leap up there. They turn into the cult heroes, the Crash Davises of the world. But there are a lot of players, and the Cardinals have a lot of these too, guys who just tear up AAA. There's nothing for them to learn there, but they just don't make the adjustment to the major leagues. And I asked Clay Davenport, who used to be at Baseball Prospectus, one of the top analytical minds out there. I said, are there these kind of players, and are there organizations that are better at this than others? And it's a big, long technical answer that I'm going to put out at Under the Knife on Friday. But the answer is yes. There are players like this. There is a difference in the leagues. There's a difference in the quality of pitchers. And there seems to be a difference in the quality of organizations, which I found the most interesting. The other is I talked to somebody, this was last week, I talked to somebody close to Callahan, and I asked whether not pitching, actually my question was about the idea that he was just going to be a DH. And he was like, he's been used to playing first base and he learned the outfield and he previously pitched. Does it bother him not pitching? And there was kind of a breath, and I was like, he was used to it. And I think that's one of the things is that you get out of this routine. It's easy for us to forget this kid was in college a little more than a year ago. And now he's theoretically in the major leagues. He's got that kind of talent. But all the adjustments he's had to make, one of them is just baseball, that he's only doing one thing, and they might be even taking away some of that. Is that good for the Royals? Is that bad for Callahan? I'm just not sure.
Well, Carroll, the injury expert here on the Big Show, KTGR, on the pitching front for the Royals, when can we expect Cole Reagans back? Should it be at some point towards the end of this season, you expect, as he tries to come back from the rotator cuff?
Yeah, it's actually looking good. He's throwing. He's probably going to have a rehab start fairly soon just because we're running out of minor league time. But things are positive here, and rotator cuffs are tough. You really don't know until you're going 100%, because rotator cuff is basically the brakes of the shoulder. You think about how much force you're putting in. That arm wants to go with the ball, and when you don't want your arm flying towards the catcher and detaching itself, that'd be bad. So until you really have to stomp on the brakes, as happens in a pitching move, then you don't know how the brakes are going to act. It's not like you can just swap on new pads there. You got to wait for the system to heal up. And they've done that, and things look good, but there's still a little question mark. So I think we'll know sometime in the next week to 10 days. And I do think he can come back at the end of the season. But again, context of the season. Are the Royals close enough 2 weeks from now to really say, let's go through it? Or do they say, hey, Cole, you're the ace of the future. You've shown us enough. Let's just make sure you're healthy and start thinking about 2026.
Will, we do want to get a football thought before we get out of here, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't ask you about Zach Wheeler. That's kind of a big story in baseball, and a guy who has been so durable over the years, now dealing with a really serious situation. What do you make of his situation and the chances potentially to get back from it on the other side and be anything close to what he's been?
Oh, yeah, he's going to come back from this. Almost no question about that. The worry with this is first that, that blood clot that he had developed moved, and that can be an embolism. That can be very literally deadly, especially with all the travel. You'll remember, what was it, about 7-8 years ago that Chris Bosh basically ended his career because of that. He just couldn't get in planes because he developed clots, even with medication. Baseball isn't so much like football or basketball, where there's a lot of contact, where there's a lot of bruising, where you would develop, pretty serious bleeding. Then again, think about all these comebackers that we've had recently. That would be pretty bad, but I think a reasonable risk. So with Wheeler, he's going to have the rib removed. He's going to come back from that. There's another interesting one down in Texas, John Gray. He's not as well known, but he also has thoracic outlet syndrome. His is affecting the nerve, and they're getting him back, oddly enough, with Botox. They're basically shooting up his shoulder with Botox so the nerve is deadened a bit, but he's still able to pitch. And I found that really intriguing. And I'll have more on Under the Knife tomorrow about the use of Botox and how wide it is in baseball.
Pretty crazy how it can help, but hey, that's a good thing for John Gray, and hoping the best for Zach Wheeler as he tries to recover from that and eventually return to the mound again. Will, on the football side, the Chiefs have had to manage an injury with Hollywood Brown over pretty much the entire preseason. Has been dealing with an ankle injury. They haven't really said that it's a serious issue. They seem optimistic that he can get over it eventually, but does that mean, with us now 2 weeks away from the start of the NFL season, Hollywood Brown being ready for week 1?
Yeah, I don't know. The Chiefs are one of those transparent teams. And I had been wondering whether this is a high ankle sprain because it's lingered. They keep saying ankle sprain, so I got to take them on their word. They've earned that trust. So I think this is just one of those things about everybody knows who Hollywood Brown is. He knows the offense. He knows the personnel. He knows the people. Patrick Mahomes knows him. He's not the A receiver by any stretch of the imagination, though we still don't really know who he is at this stage, and he might not until Roger Goodell tells us the full status. But I think Hollywood Brown is a guy who they hope is healthy enough to get out there and do some things and show some of the skills he used to have. How much does he still have those? How much can he help the offense? They've gone with those really weird, island of misfit toys, 4th and 5th receivers. And this is just another one of those. It's a way to get around the salary cap a little bit. And Patrick Mahomes has found ways to make those guys useful. I think that tells us more about Mahomes than it does about Brown, maybe more about Andy Reid and his ability to scheme. So I think this is going to be a good one. And of course, this whole Travis Kelce news, that's kind of big.
How does it affect Travis Kelce? I need your take, Will. What's it going to be this year?
I think he's going to be amazing. I think he's really focused. I think what's going to be intriguing is, what kind of – this is his last ride. I'm surprised there's not something called Last Dance or Last Ride or something like that on the new album. But he does really seem to want to go out with a championship like everybody does. He's a Hall of Famer. There's no question about that. He's now one of the most recognizable people in America. He's kind of the face of the NFL, if you think about it. And obviously this news today is just going to make that more so. So, hey, here's this kind of goofy guy from Cleveland, and he's turned into an absolute superstar that's transcending sports. Who would have thunk it? And I do think that he's going to be super focused. I think his teammates are going to get focused on this. Is it going to be enough? They came awful close last year. The Eagles are still really good. The Bills are still really good. But, it's hard not to not just root for the Chiefs, but pick the Chiefs this year because they've been that good for that long. And we've seen the NFL loves a good dynasty.
Will, what's new and Under the Knife?
Tons of stuff, man. Got some milestones to deal with tomorrow. Like I said, I've got the thing from Clay Davenport that's going to break down trying to define a quad A player and who can get which teams can get players up. We've got some interesting stuff. And if you're really intrigued by the whole Botox discussion, I've got a ton of it tomorrow, including quotes from a doctor who regularly uses it. And the cost was what stunned me. And I think it'll stun you when you read it at undertheknife.substack.com.
Yep. Go check it out. Great info, diving into a bunch of insights into Major League Baseball when it comes to injuries. Go check it out from the injury expert, Will Carroll. Great to have him here on the Big Show KTGR. Thanks for coming on, Will. Hope you're well. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks a lot, boys. Big
Show's on at 445 KTGR and the KTGR app. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it means for Travis Kelce as far as his demeanor or focus for this year. But if it ends in a championship, who cares?
If it ends in a championship, who cares? And whether they were getting married or not, Taylor Swift is clearly a very big part of his life, and that was gonna be the case regardless. So yeah, might as well get hitched, I suppose. And it's just another iteration in this storyline that it continues to grow. It's kind of funny to think back to the first day that this was a thing and how we reacted to it then, and now how we view it is just completely different. It's just wild.
It's like right before the Jaguars game 2 years ago when Travis Kelce finally shot his shot on the podcast, and then there was maybe a little bit of spike. He went on McAfee and provided a little more info. And like, what's happening here? And now an engagement. What do you know?
Here we are.
That's the power of love, everybody. Big Show's on.
They say
at 447 KTGR and the KTGR app. So who was the poor soul on the Chiefs who had to put himself in front of a microphone before everybody else right after this Kelce Swift news broke? We'll get to that and Under the Bus next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. A report from Pete Thamel of ESPN says that Mizzou will plan to have Bo Prabula be the starting quarterback for the first game against Central Arkansas on Thursday. Prabula reportedly will be playing the first half of the game, and then Sam Horn will play in the second half. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz had said that both players will be playing at quarterback in the game at some point, but did not go into details over the weekend as to how it would break down. Mizzou is going to have a sellout for that game against Central Arkansas, as was announced last night. That means the sellout streak continues at Memorial Stadium with the first 3 games of the season this year sold out. It is now 15 consecutive sellouts at Memorial Stadium dating back to 2023. Mizzou kicks off against Central Arkansas this Thursday at 6:30. It's cutdown day in the NFL. No official word yet on when the cuts are for the Chiefs. Report from Jordan Schultz, NFL insider, said that wide receiver Tyquan Thornton did make the 53-man roster. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management, inviting you to the 5th Annual Ready Festival at Cosmo Park, September 18th from 4 to 8 p.m.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies with calm winds tonight. We drop down to about 53. Tomorrow, expect gradual cloud cover. We'll see high temperatures around 81. And then as we get past sunset, a chance for a couple of light showers south of Highway 50. Clouds will hold on through Thursday morning, keeping morning temperatures in the upper 50s with highs around 77, mostly sunny by the end of the day. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Coming September 2nd to ESPN Radio, The Rich Eisen Show.
The Kansas City Chiefs are coming back this year, even better than last year's Super Bowl.
The Rich Eisen Show.
They're going to get calls that everybody thinks that Roger Goodell is mandating that the Chiefs advance because Taylor Swift is dating Travis Kelce.
Dynasty is over.
The dynasty is not over.
Catch The Rich Eisen Show starting September 2nd, weekdays from 11 to 2 on KTGR.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy. You might know nothing about it, but if you ever need it, you'll be thankful that Boone Hospital Wound Healing Center offers it. It increases oxygen delivery to your bloodstream and tissue, accelerating healing and reducing the risk of complications in hard-to-heal wounds. Find out if hyperbaric oxygen therapy is right for you and schedule an appointment. Visit boone.health to learn more.
Real healing starts here. Boone Hospital, Boone Healing Center.
The American farmer. He's up before the sun, working the land, all to feed the greatest country in the world. He's strong, he's tough, and he's hanging a whiz off his combine deck. Sweet. Dude deserves a medal, the highest recognition, and an even higher deck to pee off. Because come on, you can't go from blasting a freedom stream off a combine to a boring bathroom. That's un-American. Farmers deserve Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com.
Missouri's small towns and rural communities deserve safe, accessible roadways for everyone, whether walking, biking, wheeling, catching a bus, or driving. That's why Missouri leaders and citizens in these areas are joining the Complete Streets Initiative. With Complete Streets, communities can plan for growth and open opportunities to secure funding for sidewalks, bike lanes, and trails. Small towns across the country are making it happen. Yours can too. Learn more at mocompletestreets.com.
It feels like game over for gamers. $70 to $100 to get a new game and 5 times that to purchase the system to play it on. Looking for new tools? Good luck. You might as well try and make your own instead of making 10 easy payments of $1 billion. At Family Pawn, make your money go a lot further. Their inventory right now is packed with more options than they've ever had, from dragons and dungeons to DIY.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old service is Missouri's best. Our trusted team outpaces the rest. Show me safe coverage wherever you go. We've got you covered at Big O.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brenden on The Big Show on KTGR.
Well, first off, under the bus to the news cycle, right? I mean, that gets dominated by 2 people today, for better or worse, I suppose. But maybe that's the way it should be with the type of news that comes out.
Yeah, you can make an argument that Travis and Taylor is kind of the dominant story of the day nationally. Inevitably, whenever it happened, that was going to be true. And at least he had the decency to get it out of the way before the season really starts, and then we can focus on the sports ball and stuff.
It's just that, Major League Baseball is probably like, come on, guys, gotta roll out.
It's August
2026. What are you doing here? All those other, holdouts that ended in the last 24 hours, like Terry McLaurin and Trey Hendrickson. No, get out of the way. Would have been a lot more funnier if, Aaron Rodgers announced a podcast at 10 a.m. today, and then you see the news of Travis Kelce right afterwards.
Did you see, though, and this happens every time there's significant world news, whether it's sports or otherwise, that John Rothstein is going to have a source tweet about college basketball right after. And today it was announcing that there is a Drake-Robert Morris matchup in the non-con coming up in the 2025-2026 season. He always does that. I think he does it on purpose at this point. But when there's obviously something else that we as a society are discussing, Rothstein jumps in with a college basketball tweet to show he eats, sleeps, and breathes it.
Or is Nick Castellanos going to hit a home run today?
I don't know if this is applicable because I think it's only with some kind of
bad things happening.
Yeah, negative connotation
right, I see.
To those news stories.
So maybe not that. Maybe don't place that bet in your jurisdiction of legality. But either way, I mean, it's all Kelce and all Swift all the time.
Under the bus.
And because of that, one chief was put in an interesting spot. So this news broke just after noon. And as it was breaking, Andy Reid had already had a press conference, I believe 11:45. Then right after him, Xavier Worthy. Then the news breaks. And the next guy to speak is Mike Dana. And Mike Dana comes, he gets told by a chief staffer 30 seconds before he steps up, hey, by the way, this is happening. And then he steps up, he's like, I don't know nothing. I don't know any of that. But look, even though the first 6 or 7 questions were about Kelce and Swift, he answered them all, was gracious about it. It was actually a really good, minute and a half of him answering those questions. You should watch it if you haven't. But good on Mike Dana, even though he was thrown in a very interesting spot there.
That is pretty funny that he just kind of played ball with it a little bit.
Oh, man. Whoever was going to draw that short straw, man.
Under the bus.
It would have been nice to see, Andy Reid be the next guy, because then Reid could take credit for them getting together again like he has before and all that. That would have made for maybe a little bit of a better story. Well, it's a sellout on Thursday, so the streak is alive. Mizzou and Central Arkansas sold out. That was officially announced last night, and because Kansas is also sold out, so is the Louisiana game after that. That extends the streak to 15 straight sellouts at Memorial Stadium for Mizzou football, dating back to the Kansas State game 2 years ago was when it started.
Yep. Thank you, K-State.
Yeah.
We couldn't have done it without. Remember when their fans were like insistent, oh, the only way you guys could sell out your building is because of us being the opponent?
Yeah, well, it turns out.
Central Arkansas. What?
I don't know.
What do you got to say now?
Same level, I guess, as the Wildcats, I suppose.
I might fight Avery Johnson's dad about that. I don't know.
Oh!
Stay tuned.
Maybe so. I don't know. But good to see that happen. And I'm sure it will keep on extending with the games that are coming after that, because then the next one, South Carolina, you probably think that they'll sell that one out too. Then it's homecoming.
Have they not? I guess they haven't announced it.
They haven't announced it as one yet, but I'm sure it's close. Okay. Then it's homecoming.
And
that's
was on the website, and I couldn't get a ticket. So
very interesting. I don't know when they'll
make
that announcement officially, if they have or not yet. But regardless, we'll talk some more Mizzou next. The end of the list. The Taking Flight in 25 countdown, number 2 and number 1 will reveal at 5:05 on The Big Show.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. When you're moving, it's always something. It's either too hot or it's pouring rain. When you're all done, skip the cheap beer and pizza and come into Billiards. For one, Billiards is climate controlled. And two, we're not expecting any help. And hey, the only thing you'll have to carry out are your leftovers, if you have any.
Look on down for burgers and beer. Billiards on Broadway.
I moved my daughter 12 times in undergrad.
My name is Scott Concanon, and I've been a client of Phyllis Nichols for the past 5 years. We currently have policies with 2 automobiles, homeowners, and life insurance for my fiance. I chose Phyllis Nichols because she gave me great pricing at the time I needed it. She was able to give me a quote basically within 10 minutes of me asking for it. We've just increased our policies within her company since then. Phyllis is one of the few agents I've ever run into that will go to bat for you. I think there's a reason why they call it the 12-round agent.
There's no one-size-fits-all when it comes to football weekends, and that's what makes Yuenglings such a great pick. From traditional lager to light lager, flight, golden pilsner, and black and tan, they brew a beer for everyone's taste. Whether you're manning the grill, setting up the tailgate, or just watching with friends, Yuenglings got a flavor that fits the moment. Brewed with nearly 200 years of tradition by the oldest brewery in America, Yuengling. Legends stand the test of time. DG Yuengling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania.
After a summer full of family vacations, road trips, and chauffeuring kids all over the place, Lee's Tire Company wants to give your vehicle and wallet a break with their back-to-school special. This August, get a $100 instant rebate on a set of 4 premium Mastercraft, Kelly, Goodyear, or Hankook tires. And save on Goodyear with up to an $80 mail-in rebate. Plus, 15% off regular priced auto repairs. Only at Lee's.
Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Ooh, see Lee's.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. Amid Micah Parsons' contract hold-in, Cowboys coach Brian Schottenheimer said he had an hour-long conversation with the star edge rusher about a variety of topics, which he will keep private. Also said he expects Parsons to play in the September 4th season opener against the Eagles. It would, though, be irresponsible of Dallas to play Parsons in that game, believes ESPN's Damian Woody.
You have to be in football shape. The only way you are in football shape is by doing football things, by being in pads, by practicing. He hasn't done any of that. This is not about one game, it's not about the opening game. This is about a 17-game slate that you want Michael Parsons available for.
NFL plays Texans starting safety Jimmy Ward on the commissioner's exempt list, stemming from his June arrest for alleged family violence involving his fiancée. Fifth-round pick, quarterback Shedeur Sanders has made the Browns' 53-man roster. He'll be QB3 behind starter Joe Flacco and backup Dylan Gabriel. AL Cy Young contender Nathan Eovaldi likely done for this season with a strained rotator cuff. Slugger Yordan Alvarez returns from a fractured wrist for the AL West leading Astros tonight against the Rockies.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
From Faro.
15 to the 10, to the house.
Bush.
Back to the wall. And it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown. Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
Oh, it's finally here. The final two players on our Mizzou Taking Flight in 2025 list, powered by Yingling, is coming up in just a few minutes as we unveil the two most important players to Mizzou football this season. And frankly, Andy and I might have an argument about it as we get into the list. You might want to stay tuned for that. We'll talk a little bit more about the players that we didn't name to the list at 525. Should have an honorable mention segment, it feels. So let us know who we missed in our top 20 and who could emerge as a key player for the Tigers this season. We're also going to talk a little bit before we get out of here about that Wilson Contreras situation from last night at Busch Stadium. What the heck was that? We'll weigh in with our thoughts a little bit later on the show. 573-875-KTGR to call us or text us. You can also find us on YouTube now and chime into the live chat there. But before we get started with any of that, we got to do this because it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
We now know what Mizzou reportedly plans to do with their quarterbacks on Thursday. Pete Thamel of ESPN saying today on social media that Bo Prabula will get the first half, Sam Horn will get the second half. And look, it's exactly what happened in 2023. Brady Cook got the first half, Sam Horn got the second half. And we saw that Brady Cook got a lot more opportunities to essentially play the quarterback position the way that Mizzou would have wanted whoever it is they want a quarterback to play it. And then Sam Horn was mostly relegated to kind of handoff duty and things like that. If we see that type of dynamic again, well, then I think you know who the starting quarterback is. But you can also say that, look, if this is exactly how 2023 went and this quarterback competition will end up being the same, well, then that's kind of the indication that Prabula is already the guy. I'll leave a little bit of room to see, can they get an evaluation out of Sam Horn to see if he can be the starter going forward. But, yeah, looks like it's going to be Bo Prabula as the starter for Mizzou, should we read into the Thamel tweet.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
The big news of the day, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift getting engaged. It's just sometimes you have to kind of pinch yourself, I think, if you're a Chiefs fan. Like, this team in Middle America with a tight end that before he started catching passes from Patrick Mahomes was thought of as kind of an interesting player, not anything too special, though. And now all of a sudden he's been dating the most famous person in the world and now is engaged to it. It's wild how he got to this point, but hey, it's coming, the marriage between those two. And if you are not interested in seeing more Taylor Swift on your television screen, well, you're just going to have to shake it off.
Number 3.
Wilson Contreras ejected last night after a blow-up at an umpire. Ollie Marmol ejected with him. It seemed that there was something said from the umpire to Contreras that really set him off. He was kind of walking back to the dugout as if he knew that he had struck out after looking, but was maybe talking about pitches beforehand. I don't know. We can dive into it more at 5:45. Cardinals got the win, though, in that wild game over the Pirates. Alec Burleson with a walk-off bomb.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
We don't know officially what the Chiefs' cuts are yet on NFL Cut Down Day, but it does look like, according to NFL insider Jordan Schultz, that Tyquan Thornton will make the roster, and that makes sense considering how he's looked in the preseason.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face. Slap.
And Mizzou, before the season opener, is asking the fans, hey, guys, let's not storm the field.
That's The Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875 KTGR if you want to call or text us. I say asking because That's essentially what it is. Mizzou is trying to be more definitive about it and say, this season, there will be no field stormings. And look, they'll probably be right. But it's still an ask. It's still a very strong, like, hey, please don't do this because it'll cost us $500,000. And we need that money. We can't give it to our opponents.
There's actually maybe some teeth behind it, though. We can talk about how legitimate we think this might be. But as part of the release, there was a part of the statement that says, should a field incursion occur, we will be using cameras in the stadium to record and identify perpetrators. Perpetrators will be held to account. They may be trespassed from campus, fined, suspended, or expelled. That is in the official release from Mizzou today regarding field stormings. I personally think that's a mistake to approach it this way. It's not to say that you can have the field stormings and just accept the $500,000 penalty that then does go to your opponent if it's a conference game. I think we learned from basketball season that the non-conference just goes into like the general fund and it doesn't go directly to the opponent. So like they rushed the floor against Kansas. That worked out.
They rushed the field against Kansas State. That worked out too. Like,
exactly right. But this time you're going, well, we play Kansas this year. They're putting this out. Obviously, that would be the first game that anybody would, I think, consider it, even though you're supposed to beat Kansas. So I wouldn't expect it. The only game I really think it would be legitimate to rush the field is Alabama if you were to win that game.
Yeah.
All that being said, I hate to give credit to a program like Arkansas, but did you see what they're talking about doing for this year?
Yeah.
Is basically putting like a 3-minute countdown clock on the jumbo screen after a big win and say, let everybody leave the field. Let the opposing players, let the referees, let personnel get out of the way. You're going to see the countdown. When it hits 0, you may rush the field.
Yeah.
And what I believe that does, someone could correct me if I'm wrong, I think that would negate the fine and the penalty. That's what happened.
There is a time aspect to it.
It's a time window.
Yeah.
To me, if that's real and that is a way to avoid the penalty, it is crazy not to just do that at every school.
I think you should.
Why would a school not adopt that? I get it. There's like a liability thing and you don't want the headache of it. If that is a legitimate option, don't be that school to say, oh, we're not, stay off. This was an option, I feel. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Arkansas is going to say they're going to do it, and then there's a reason that we don't know that they actually can't. But if that's possible, I think it's silly that Mizzou wouldn't do the same.
Well, it's something that every school, I think, is having to think about a lot more now because the SEC did up the fine. Like, it used to be escalating. It started at like $125K, then $250, then up to $5. Now it's just $500K across the board for the field storm. You do it once, and it does not matter whether it was the first time you did it or the second time you did it. No, $500,000 if you do it at all. And so, it's something that you have to have a plan for. But I'm kind of with you. Like, Arkansas, I think, did it right with that sort of thing. And I want to say, didn't Vanderbilt do that last year with their storming of the field against Alabama?
For Alabama, I don't think
somebody did, I think, or maybe it was basketball. I'm not sure. Maybe someone delayed it for basketball.
Someone did do it in basketball.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Vanderbilt football was fined after they stormed in October, which I think was their Alabama win.
Yeah.
But a story from the Tennessean for basketball, Vanderbilt says fans can storm court. They just have to wait a full minute to avoid fines.
There you go.
And so it was Vanderbilt, I guess, that initially came up with this that we saw during basketball season.
Yeah.
And if that is true and that is applicable during football, there is no reason that every school doesn't take that approach other than, we just don't want to liability. Do it. I mean, that's so much more fan-friendly than we're going to find our cameras and expel you, which, by the way, if 20,000 people are storming the field,
how do you do
good
it all?
Luck to the cameras.
Yeah.
I think that's like, it works if it's one or two guys and they're like, all right, I'm not going to be the one to do it. But Andy, I've always said this, when a field storming is about to happen, because you know what happens? This was the way when we were in school. Right. I don't know that it's changed. We'll see this year.
Yeah.
The ushers and the yellow ponchos will line the playing surface as like every game ends. You know when they're not standing there? When they know that there are going to be fans trying to trample them onto the field.
Yeah.
That's the time that there's nobody trying to stop it because you couldn't physically stop it if it's actually a wave of humans coming. So we'll see if this actually, happens this way. Like I said, the only game that I think there'd be a legitimate case to do it is Alabama, not even South Carolina, not Kansas. I understand people would say, well, it's Kansas, it's the rivalry. If you're favored to win a game, in my opinion, I don't think you can storm the field. You might be able to concoct an example for me that I wouldn't agree with, where maybe it's a case you do it. I don't think it's on September the 6th. So I get it, but I also think if this Arkansas thing is real and the Vanderbilt thing from hoops season, why not just do that? That would be pretty fan-friendly.
Daniel texting in, my favorite part of that is, quote, we expect win, end quote, and I completely agree with that statement. I
totally understand that,
that's
too.
where I come down on this.
I wonder,
most of your games,
I wonder if Drinkwitz do you think Drinkwitz will ever have this as a question that he has to answer, or is it not something that comes up with him?
So,
because I
yeah.
feel like he might have a stance on this too.
He obviously can't take a microphone like Dennis Gates did and say, please do not rush. That's a little more difficult, but no, he might. I don't know if he would be prompted to do it at one point.
That's what I mean. Like it would be like in a press conference. Hey, this was the statement that was released by the university.
Sure.
In the statement, we expect to win. Tell us about the mindset that comes along with that. Like, I feel like there's a talking point for him in there somewhere, akin to, hey, we sell out every home game. That's what we do at Missouri. That's what we do. That's the standard. That's the way it is. It doesn't matter who you're playing. Last year, that was his kind of calling card, was you're coming to see the number 11 Mizzou Tigers. You're not coming to see their opponent.
Exactly.
And so you sell out every game. That's like the expectation that he wants to lay down at Mizzou. So I don't know if there might be an element of this baked into that, but I would like to think we could have a little bit of an ability to take ourselves less seriously than that.
Yeah.
Like, again, with Dennis Gates, it was very clear, you better rush the damn court, right? That's what he wanted to say against Kansas.
Against that opponent, yeah, do it.
Yeah, so, and for football, I just don't think it's the same. It's not apples and apples. I understand where they're coming out with, but when this release comes a week or two after the Arkansas release saying, hey, we're going to put a countdown clock up there, make sure everybody stays safe, and then go nuts. Why am I siding with Arkansas compared to my own school and the way that they're approaching it? That just doesn't give me a good feeling. I wish they would consider something like the countdown clock, if in fact that is an option, and it seems to be.
Call or text us 875-KTGR. Brad's here on the KTGR hotline. Brad, what you got?
Guys, thank you. I want to first remind you guys that Arkansas has never done anything correct. Second thing is, well, hey, I'm sorry. I had to make that punch. Second thing is I don't know if Arkansas doesn't allow anybody drinking inside the stadium, but you can do a countdown. But I guarantee you there is thousands of college students that do not understand the clock counting down. They are going to see that whistle blow, and they are going running. And I don't know if Arkansas is just going to take those students to the side and find them, or how they'll handle that. But I don't see, unless there's some big chain that's keeping everybody back. I think when the game's over, you got too many drunkards getting ready to rush. Thank you for taking the call.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate the call, Brad, here on the Big Show. And that's part of the safety of the folks that are in on that, that crew, that security crew, when they line it, and they get the feeling that, they're probably going to start. Well, you don't want to be in that line of fire. But
yeah, and there's no real way until you're in the moment to know what a crowd of people is going to do. And so if you lay down the law as much as you possibly can ahead of time, maybe that prevents the behavior that you're trying to avoid. Yes, the $500,000 matters. And I think that's a big reason with the NIL era and the revenue sharing era. That's why I think we're seeing more and more universities and schools and programs try to account for this and come up with a plan in a way that's not just, every once in a while you pay the fine and it is what it is. But I kind of do look at it and say, is there a way to where everybody can be happy? And maybe there's not. Maybe they've thought it through and they've determined that As Brad said, nope, you can't count on these college kids who, may be imbibing to read the clock, right? They can make PA announcements, though. That's what they did at, basketball games. So I don't know.
We'll see what works. We'll see what doesn't. Call or text us at 875-KTGR. But that was an interesting thing from today that Mizzou tweeted out and sent out to the ether. All right, let's send this out into the ether.
Who will rise to the occasion? Who will put the team on his back? Who will take flight?
This is the big show, baby.
It's the Mizzou Taking Flight in 25 Countdown, powered by Yingling on the Big Show.
We have made it to the end. Number 2 and number 1 revealed today in our Taking Flight in 25 Countdown. And, well, Brenden, you said we might argue a little bit on this one.
Yeah, there's clearly a number 1, and whatever we said previously would be insane at this point to stick to. But I'll wait and see what you say and then decide if we're arguing or not.
I mean, I guess so. But either way, if you missed out on any of the list and you want to cross-reference it against what we have revealed so far, and you want to get ready for our honorable mention, which we'll have here after this next break, well, go to KTGR.com and find the full list. That's where you can catch up. But let's get to Hardy, the running back. Expected to take a good amount of the carries, you'd have to think, based on how he did in his freshman season, his true freshman season, I believe, at Louisiana Monroe, but I'll confirm that. And look,
yeah, that's right.
With how he performed there, especially when it comes to the yards that he got after contact, you think about all the possibilities a player like that could be for Mizzou's running game. That has been, last year they looked for a bell cow. I'm sure they were hoping for it to eventually be Nate Noel, but he never really stayed healthy. So Marcus Carroll kind of took that. Jamal Roberts kind of took some of that. Eventually let Kejuan Lacey have some opportunities. The hope is that Hardy is the guy that can potentially lead them with a powerful run game that allows you to establish your offense when you're breaking in a new quarterback this year.
Yeah, and he's he is the made in a lab perfect vision of a running back for what this offense wants to be, in my belief. The yards after first touch, the yards per carry, the missed tackle rate, the production in the zone running scheme, everything I feel like fits what Mizzou has a chance to be able to do offensively, and he is the engine of it. I think they're going to lean on this guy more significantly than anybody else on the offense, probably including the quarterback if they have their way. I think he is the guy. The keys to the offense are going to be his. Yes, there will be some pass plays, but I expect to see a lot of Ahmad Hardy. And, I think a lot of the considerations for, hey, do we have the offensive line as good and strong as it needs to be? That is baked around, like, how's this team going to run block? Because we want to run the ball and do it often.
And I have confidence that they'll do it. It hasn't necessarily mattered what the combination was on the offensive line over the last few years or so. And look, you can chalk it up to the fact that several of those guys got drafted into the NFL. Juwan Foster, Marcus Bryant, Armand Membu. So many guys on the edges were able to establish that. But Mizzou potentially still has that type of talent. Certainly have it with Caden Green. And I think he can show that on the outside he can reach a level of production that Mizzou can tout that as an above-average part of their team. But running back will still be the main feature in that, and it does matter what type of runner he is and how he's able to preserve his body and how Mizzou chooses to use him in those contexts. Very interesting year coming up for this young guy who's coming in with a good amount of hype. Maybe you could say that because he wasn't picked all SEC, that he's flying under the radar, maybe regionally when you talk about the conference or nationally, things like that. But a lot of folks around Mizzou expect a lot out of this guy, and I'd be interested to see how he handles it.
Keep him healthy. That's been like my one thing that I wanted to see most from camp is, play out the quarterback thing. figure out the offensive line, have Ahmad Hardy healthy coming into the season, because I think Ahmad Hardy has a chance. Like, they were excited about what Nate Noel could have been last year. Injuries really slowed him down, I think, to where we didn't maybe even get to see the best version of him consistently throughout a 12-game schedule. I think Ahmad Hardy is slated to be a more impactful player at the running back position than even what Noel could have been if healthy. So to say that I am not tempering expectations would be true. I think there's a lot riding on Ahmad Hardy. I think you do have other guys in the running back room who can contribute. Ahmad Hardy is the RB1 and the most important skill player on the offense.
It is hard to kind of put him ahead of the offensive lineman that will be blocking for him, though, which we eventually did. But
yeah, a line is 5 guys. The unit matters.
Yeah.
And that's why it got, 4 of the top 20 spots on the list.
Yeah.
Hardy's one guy, and I don't think you replicate his production if you don't have him.
And we'll see how long it takes maybe to get to the type of production that you eventually see from him as they start this season with the games that they have on their schedule. I will say, in the honorable mention category that we'll do once we take a break here, I'll mention a guy I was thinking about the other day, and a line on the depth chart made me think this guy will also be pretty important and maybe take the load a bit off of Ahmad Hardy. So we'll get to that coming up, but let's not delay anymore.
Number 1.
I mean, we're going to fight about it.
Who's the player that you believe we should be naming here?
Well,
because I've never wavered.
It is either Bo Pribula or Sam Horn.
Boo! It's Bo Pribula. Period.
It is either Bo Pribula or Sam Horn.
It's not.
Do you want to know why, Brenden? Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why? Because Sam Horn is one play away from being the guy.
He absolutely is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make him more important right now until that play happens than the other 19 guys on the list, because we know who the starter is going to be. It's Bo Pribula. We found that out today. We didn't know before today. I'll give you that. Today we learned.
But if something happens, then he immediately jumps everybody on the list.
Yeah, but until something happens, he doesn't. And so Sam Horn's an honorable mention, but we'll talk about it. It's the quarterback position. It's going to be the most important position on the field. We do know now that it's going to be staffed by Bo Pribula as the starter. And there's a lot to live up to here relative to Brady Cook and what he did as a starter here for multiple seasons. I mean, it wasn't always smooth the whole way through, but I think by the end of it, everybody came to realize and appreciate, hopefully, what they had in Brady Cook and just how difficult it's going to be to replicate what he brought to the table.
How would you guess, with Bo Pribula being the guy, how would you predict what his stats will be?
Gosh, let me pull up Brady from last year, by the way.
Brady had around 2,500 passing yards, I want to say, last year. The touchdowns were on the lower end.
Yeah, it was 25-35 in yards for 12 games. And so I guess that counts everything, including the bowl game.
Effectively, it was, includes the bowl game. Effectively, it was about 11 games if you combine Auburn and Alabama, which he missed half of both. So,
and he missed Oklahoma altogether, so that's why it's 12 games. Brady Cook only threw 11 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, wasn't many.
Kind of feels crazy. Now, how many did he run in? Yeah, he did. I'm looking at the numbers here to find it. 5 rushing touchdowns. Bo Pribula, does he account for more or less than 15 and a half touchdowns this season?
More.
Because Brady was 15 last year. Or, I'm sorry, 16. So let me make it 16 and a half. Does he account for more touchdowns than Brady Cook did last year?
He almost has to, right?
I don't think he has to. I think Ahmad Hardy
run
is
game,
have a lot of touchdown runs.
But even then, Cody Schrader got several chances to run it in himself in those spots, and Brady Cook had many more touchdowns of his own. I think it's more of a conversation of what is the offense itself. Mizzou didn't have really a great offense last year. And so like if it does take a step forward, then that would have to mean that the quarterback, no matter who it is accounting for more of the touchdowns, because just generally speaking, you're scoring more touchdowns on offense. So I would say higher.
Running backs accounted for, give or take, it looks like 18 or 19. Luther ran in a couple as well. The year before that, running backs only accounted for 17 touchdowns. Schrader had 14. Pete had 3. So that number may not change.
I mean,
yeah, for Cody, but running backs had more last year, is what I'm saying, than in the Schrader year.
Okay, yeah.
Because Schrader had basically 14 of the 17. Last year, Roberts had a few, Carroll had a few, and Nate Noel had 8. Yeah, Pribula, 17 total touchdowns. He could throw for about 1 per game and run for 6 or more. Yes, I think he'll have more total touchdowns than Brady Cook did last year. He will not. Will he surpass the yardage for Brady Cook? Because that 25-25 number, 2,535, was the lowest of Brady Cook's career in which he played every game, basically. In 2022, he threw for 2,700.
Yeah.
And then it was 3,300. I mean,
I don't think he quite gets to 3,000. Be hard to expect out of a first-year starter. Yeah, that's also a fair thing. I don't know.
He might not.
Maybe not.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really do think they're going to run the heck out of the football. Whatever. I'm penciling Ahmad Hardy in for, rushing yard-wise. Let's see. Cody Schrader had 1,627.
School record.
In 13 games.
I'm not expecting that, but
I do believe Ahmad Hardy eclipses that. But it's because they're playing way more than 13 games this year. That's on a per game basis. I don't think Hardy will get there. He won't eclipse, whatever the per game rate was, but he will have more rushing yards because you figure the SEC championship is 13. Playoff game, the second playoff game.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They're playing a bunch of games this year.
Yeah. Look, if they play all those games,
to the
then
point
that probably means that he maybe gets there in 13 or so. Like that, it'll be a very good stat line regardless if, in fact, Ahmad Hardy is getting those types of yards.
How many rushing yards for Pribula, though? Because Cook felt like he was bang for the buck. You were getting his runs to happen in short yardage and in key spots, maybe on the goal line. I feel like you could definitely see a higher yardage total on the ground. Only 223 yards from Cook. Granted, sacks count against you in that.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little tricky.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely say over on Pribula. He's going to run.
They'll design some runs for him.
He'll have a lot of runs.
Barring health, right? The reason why they cut down on Brady's running plays is mainly because they wanted to preserve him and he's dealing with injuries, things like that. As long as Pribula is healthy in that sense, then yeah, I think you can pencil him for more rushing yards on the season than that.
But the dynamic duo is who we named today. I know you said it's either or, and I get it. The backup is important.
I will not definitively say until Eli Drinkwitz definitively says.
And I will, because we've been through this before.
But we will at least list them both on the site. You can debate it if you want.
That's because I'm not posting it, but somebody that posts it will.
If you want to. But
no, you can let me, but I can tell you who I'm not putting in anywhere but honorable mention.
875 KTGR. Give us a call or a text. So, Bo Pribula and Sam Horn. Number 1 on the list. Ahmad Hardy, number 2, taking flight in 25, powered by Yingling. Go and check out Yingling Flight. Stock up on that all tailgate season long for Mizzou football as they get started here very soon. Who didn't make the list? That probably has a good case to be on the list. We'll get to those guys next on The Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to place your entries and win money all season long right here in Missouri, Andy.
Yeah, and we're getting so close to football season. It's right upon us. College football, NFL, it'll be here very soon. Great thing about Underdog, though, you can mix and match with several different sports in your entry. And to tide you over until those first few football games come our way this weekend, I'll dive into some baseball. I'm riding Vinny Pasquantino. He has been on a tear recently. I will go higher than 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. He seems to be locked in to get at least 2 of those every single game, seemingly, over the last couple of weeks.
Sounds like a great start to an entry, and it really is that easy on Underdog. So download the app today and sign up with promo code KTGR to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code KTGR. Millions of fans have already won billions by making plays on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
On game day, every needs a. And every tailgate needs Kingsford charcoal. And a match. Whatever lot you're in, whatever you're grilling up for your fellow Tiger tailgaters, Kingsford Charcoal is the official charcoal of Missouri football. Without it, you're just standing around in a parking lot. Since 1920, Kingsford has been proud to fire up your tailgates with friends and family. Kingsford.com.
From elegant weddings to corporate lunches with flavor and flair, Courtyard by Marriott Columbia brings the party and the pros. It's the home of Main Event Catering. And with every event, you'll get an award-winning chef, full banquet staff, and drop-and-go options for any size crowd. And the event center holds up to 300 guests with 8 flexible rooms. If you need help, there's a Marriott certified wedding coordinator on staff too. Book now by calling 573-443-8000.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Design. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
It was 2 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing answered the call. He was a regular customer of Brian's, but he was confused. Out of breath, the man shouted, "You're offering a lifetime warranty on water heaters? I just told my wife about this. We've never clapped for plumbing before." Brian smiled, chuckled, and confirmed it was all true. They are indeed offering a full lifetime warranty for your next water heater. Hey, maybe you'll clap for plumbing too. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
Tired of calling Andy and Brenden? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
So tell us what you think of our now complete Taking Flight in 25 list, powered by Yuengling, the 20 most important Mizzou football players to this 2025 season. We'll get into who we think just missed out on the list, but maybe deserves to be on there. We'll also get to at 5:45. Well, news coming down about the Wilson Contreras blow up yesterday with him getting ejected. He threw a bat. He threw some bubble gum.
Bubble gum.
Was it not him?
It was Haichu.
Oh,
I just need to be clear. It's a little more of a candy, but that's what was in the bucket. I think it's branded. I think it's a whole.
What's the difference between this? What is that?
Bubble gum, you really shouldn't swallow. Haichu is a very chewable candy that you can
consume.
and you swallow it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I see. Never heard of it, but
it's pretty good. They
Is
usually hand them out outside Busch Stadium every couple weeks just because I think they're like a sponsor.
Okay,
So
gotcha.
I've had it. It's fine.
Well, either way, a hefty suspension coming for Wilson Contreras that he is appealing. He's also getting a fine. We'll get into that at 5:45, but that was maybe thought that something like that was coming after the way it went down.
Yeah, 6 games is what they're saying. No surprise he'll appeal after what we heard from him last night. Yeah. So we'll maybe get into whether he crossed the line or not in some of his displeasure with the home plate umpire.
But let's dive back into the list. So it's all revealed, all 20-ish players on the Taking Flight in 25 list, powered by Yingling. At the top, Bo Perbula and Sam Ward, but probably Bo Perbula. Ahmad Hardy, number 2, Caden Green, number 3, then Connor Towson, Tristan Newson, Kevin Coleman, Jalen Catalan, Zion Young, Dalen Carnell, Chris McClellan, Josiah Trotter, Brett Norfleet, Dre Norwood, Damon Wilson, Dominic Jadis, Keegan Trost, Blake Craig, Marquise Johnson, Khalil Jacobs, and then we had another tie at the number 20 spot, Toriano Pride Jr. and Stephen Hall, both at the corner spot. So those are the guys who made the list. Who deserved to make it that maybe didn't quite this time around? I've got several in mind, but you go here, Brenden. Who would you advocate for?
I don't know if I would say deserve to make it because we did make the list after all.
Yeah.
But an honorable mention, absolutely. I'm going to start with Sam Horn. I think he's going to be a really important part of this team. Just, he's going to be the backup quarterback.
Very well could be the most important part of the team.
If an injury happens, he will be.
But
yeah.
Okay.
But otherwise, we didn't get Pigler on there, did we? That
no,
was
we
probably
didn't. No.
That's a miss. But we didn't know at the time. We thought it was Johnny Williams, and
we did
some
make
other dudes
the list
left
before
tackle.
those practice reports started to come out as to what the alignment was. So yeah, largely important, especially when he was maybe not the known quantity. He's been with the program a couple years now. He's a junior, but yeah, as he fills into that role at right guard, and Drinkwitz has pretty much acknowledged that he'll start out at right guard to begin the year, and that's how it's listed on the depth chart. I mean, becomes largely important because that's the guy that you're essentially putting into the spot to alleviate what you maybe had at left tackle before. And so now with this guy, you're trying to make it the best 5. So yeah, largely important.
And I think if we had to do over again, it's not to say that we would knock anybody off specifically, but he would be, I think he's one of the most 20 important because the whole line is going to matter a heck of a lot. So that's the one that jumps out first and foremost on a serious note. Horn, that being what it is. Pigler, clearly was performing at a level that indicated he's one of the best 5. And then from there, you figure out where to put everybody, as it seems like the way that they approached it.
Yeah, I'd say on the offensive side also, the 2 players I'll point out. I mean, we had questions about Josh Manning. Like, we had somebody reach out specifically, like, where's Josh Manning on the list? And he didn't make the list. But it doesn't mean that he can't emerge. I mean, the most likely second receiver, the most likely WR2 on this team is probably Marquise Johnson, and he did end up making the list. But bottom line, someone has to emerge as another receiving option for whoever the quarterback is, and it has to be consistent. I think it's most likely to be Johnson, but it could be Josh Manning. And if it is Josh Manning, then I see a good amount of upside potentially for this receiver room if it comes that way.
How much, and I'm not making a case that he ends up as one of the 20 most important, but how much does the true freshman Olugbodi factor into what we're talking about at receiver? Because there are guys to jump on the depth chart, but he's clearly got some talent.
Yeah, he is on the depth chart for sure, and he'll get a good amount of time. You'd have to think, hopefully so in this first game with how things potentially play out when you're facing an FCS team. Hopefully Donovan Olubade gets a bunch of time out there. But yeah, it would take time though, because you can't expect immediate production like that out of a true freshman. It didn't even come right out of the gate from Luther Burden. And so like you've got to still manage expectations, guys like that. I know he's exciting, and I could slot him down as long as he sticks around at Mizzou for being at least one of their top 2 receivers going forward. But let's just, see, manage expectations for now. Still young, still having to figure out what the speed of the game is like at this level. And he's probably not going to find it out right away with this first game or the first few or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. And we'll see. We'll see what the entire depth chart ends up looking like there. But like offensively, I think we have a general pretty good idea. I don't know if there's a running back that, in my opinion, should have belonged on this list because I'm that high on Hardy, but you seem like you have a thought on who maybe ends up kind of spelling Hardy the most.
So the depth chart was released Saturday. It's an unofficial depth chart, but it's the first one we've gotten so far. Nothing really surprising on it. The only thing I was mildly surprised by at first, but then after thinking about it, it actually makes a lot of sense, so I'm not as surprised by it anymore. At running back, it is listed as the starter, Ahmad Hardy, or Jamal Roberts. So, look, like I would expect that if it counted down towards the end of the season and we tallied it all up, Ahmad Hardy will get significantly more carries than most anybody else on this team. Maybe not to start out, though. Maybe to make sure that he is adjusting well to the speed of a new league himself. Jamal Roberts takes some of that load off of him to continue to do what he's done and becomes maybe not the feature guy, but does have that type of change of pace feel to him. And especially towards the end of last season, he came up in some pretty big roles based on how the running back room shook out. This team loves Jamal Roberts. I mean, the coaches
they trust
really like him, right? They trust him.
I think it's important that they trust him.
And like snaps will be divvied out at times based on how well you pass protect and how you do the other things other than just carrying the football at the running back position. And Jamal Roberts does an excellent job at all of those things. And that's why he got more playing time towards the end of last season. It wasn't just by necessity, but it clearly helped out that Mizzou could trust him running the football in a lot of those situations. So, I mean, he will not lead the team in carries, but he will, I think, at times play a big role. And again, health is always a fickle thing at times. He's also one snap away from being the guy himself. So it could be very
and if he is, I'm lower on the ceiling of the offense by a considerable margin.
That's fine.
Not because I don't think Roberts can handle it, but because I think Hardy is Heisman special. Like, that award doesn't really go to running backs often. I think he could be the best running back in the country. I like Jamal Roberts. I don't project a best running back in the country ceiling for him this season. That said, let's dive into it. He had 53 carries last year, more of which kind of came toward the end. To give an idea, Nate Noel was 163 carries. Marcus Carroll was 140. We project these two, Hardy and Roberts, to be the primary two. I personally care 0% about the depth chart label of or. It's a deference to a player that was already in the program. What do you think the split will be, though, between the two?
All season?
Yeah, I mean, I gave it out that it was 160 for Noel, 140 for Carroll. Roberts had 50. And, of course, if a guy gets hurt, then it's going to be difficult.
Right.
But assuming both make it through the season healthy, what would you project as like the carry volume for each?
Well, I'll say that, I mean, for all of the running backs, I would have to think that Hardy gets more than half. He would get close to 60, would be my guess.
Percent?
Yeah. But then it breaks down. Jamal Roberts probably gets somewhere between 30 and 35, and then other running backs probably get, whatever's left, anywhere between 5 and 10%. So that's how I would maybe see it.
I think this is true. Okay, Jamal Roberts had a carry in the Cody Schrader year. He had one.
Yeah.
he's the only running back besides Nate Pete or Cody Schrader that had a carry that season. Cody Schrader had 276 of the 353.
That's a lot.
That was 78%.
Yeah.
Nate Pete was 76 of 353, more like 21.5%. I don't know if Hardy gets 78%, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him get 70.
Yeah,
I do
it could
think
happen.
Roberts will be the other guy. Marquise Davis, I don't know where he landed on the depth chart. People are kind of excited about
He's
him.
on
Another
there.
true freshman.
He's on
so
there.
You can't project. Like, he may be in like a Kwan Lacey situation, what Lacey was last year. You might see him sparingly and just give him a taste. But I think about a 70-30 split may end up being what evolves. And I expect a lot of Roberts. Maybe the snap share is different than that, because Roberts, I could see getting a decent amount of third down run, especially early in the season, as you're trying to make sure that you keep guys healthy. You don't overwork anybody. I'm not going to look at the Central Arkansas snaps and say, oh my gosh, why did Roberts play so much? But Roberts will play a lot in Central Arkansas game and maybe even in the Kansas game. I think when it settles in, you're going to see Drink, when he gets a workhorse, he wants to work him. He just didn't get a chance to do it with Noel last year due to injury. If Hardy is healthy, I think he will 75% of the carries and maybe even approach Cody Schrader level. But early, you're right. I think you will see more of Roberts, and he's somebody that they trust for sure. Anybody defense before I know we got to get to a break.
Smith.
Is there anybody?
Darius Smith for sure.
100%. And I want to mention, I want to see if Javion Hilson has a role this year. I'm just curious to see if he gets on the field, what that looks like. Comparing him to Williams Nwaneri, maybe not appropriate, but that move happened right after Nwaneri entered the portal. And I'm intrigued to see what the true freshman, if he gets a chance.
Dayton Hopkins has also made some noise, the other true freshman in that room. So it might be those two maybe fighting for whatever opportunity they get for a true freshman there. But yeah, no, like the raw talent on Javion Hilson, I think, is very well known. It could be a huge benefit for Mizzou going forward. Call or text us, 875-KTGR. Who do you want to advocate for that missed out on our Taking Fight in 25 list? Powered by Yingling. What do we think about this Wilson Contreras suspension that he will appeal, but seems to be a lofty one to try and appeal down from? We'll get to that next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Pete Thamel of ESPN reporting today that it will be Bo Prabula taking the first half snaps in the Tigers' opening game against Central Arkansas on Thursday, and Sam Horn taking the quarterback snaps in the second half. Eli Drinkwitz had indicated that the competition would continue on into this game, but did not say publicly over the weekend how the snaps would be divvied up between the two. It will end up being Bo Prabula's first career college start, per the report from Pete Thamel of ESPN. Tigers kick off against Central Arkansas at 6:30 on Thursday. It's officially a sellout, as was announced last night. That means the first 3 games of the Mizzou football season are sold out at Memorial Stadium, extending the sellout streak to 15 consecutive games. Wilson Contreras suspended 6 games by the league today, news that just came out within the last hour, and also given an undisclosed fine. It is going to be appealed by Contreras, as the Cardinals won over the Pirates last night 7-6 on a walk-off homer. They play the Pirates again tonight at 6:45. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast with the Boone County Office of Emergency Management 5th Annual Ready Festival at Cosmo Park, September 18th. Visit ready.boonemo.org.
I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner. I'm tracking mostly clear skies with calm winds tonight. We drop down to about 53. Tomorrow, expect gradual cloud cover. We'll see high temperatures around 81. And then as we get past sunset, a chance for a couple of light showers south of Highway 50. Clouds will hold on through Thursday morning, keeping morning temperatures in the upper 50s with highs around 77, mostly sunny by the end of the day. I'm ABC 17 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Jessica Hafner, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Join the biggest party of football season at KTGR's Tiger Tailgate. Download the KTGR app and find a full list of locations where you can pick up your free Tiger Tailgate passes and come party with free food and drinks 2.5 hours before each Mizzou kickoff in front of Mizzou Arena. It's our Tiger Tailgate with Dive Bar, Bud Light, High Noon, Sing Zang, Lucky One Lemonade, and Mid-Mo Water Solutions. Find out where you can pick up your free passes on the KTGR app.
Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Free-for-all RV Road Warriors, your best blast of Branson just turned into a bad day bummer. You ran out of gas, blew a tire, killed your battery, are sitting sideways in a ditch, and managed to lock yourselves out. Ouch. Hey, it could happen. And for the save, you call I-70 Towing. They're Mid-Missouri's go-to crew for roadside assistance, too. Fuel, tires, batteries, locks, winching, you name it. When your world seems to have been wrecked, call the team they hope you never have to meet. I-70towing.com. Now serving Boonville. Winching.
Columbia just got armed. Minutemen Defense is your new destination for guns, ammo, and tactical gear that means business. From holsters and body armor to night vision and magazines, if you need it, they've got it. Plus, the cheapest ammo in town, guaranteed. Located right off I-70 and Rangeline for fast, easy access, locally owned, veteran approved, built for serious shooters. Minutemen Defense. Get there. Visit MinutemenDefenseLLC.com.
Everyone has their go-to game day outfit. Maybe it's a comfy black and gold hoodie or that old hat you wear because it still hasn't been to a losing game. Hi, this is Sophie Cunningham, and if you really want to stand out on game day, talk to the team at Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia. Rock your favorite team's colors with a beautifully designed, one-of-a-kind custom piece of jewelry from Betts Jewelers in downtown Columbia, our hometown jeweler. MIZBETZ.
Beautiful moments begin at Betts. Begin at Betts.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Sticklin.
And I'm Sarah Sticklin McDonald of the Sticklin & Sticklin Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Sticklin & Sticklin.
Nice deck, bro. A simple, harmless phrase that you'll hear one of two ways this summer. Nice deck, bro, or nice deck, bro. You don't want your bros mocking your deck. And the only way to get a bro-approved deck is with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. Benefits of a Kretsch's deck include lounging, grilling, and having an unreasonable amount of fun peeing off of it. Because, come on, bro, it's the ultimate. Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside. Kretsch'sCustomExteriors.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at APIProjectFitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
The Tigers kick off their season Thursday, August 28th, and we're proud to say that we'll be at every single home game all season long. Come find us at the Zimmer Tiger Tailgate to play games, score prizes, and connect with Missouri's best team of cannabis aficionados. Whether you're repping black and gold or just here for the tailgate vibes, Shangri-La is bringing community, fun, and a little extra spark to your game day. Find us, say hi, and let's celebrate the season together. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
So again, the news from just within the last hour, Wilson Contreras suspended 6 games by Major League Baseball as, that's outburst he had after being ejected last night towards the end of the Pirates game. Ollie Marmol also ejected, but Contreras, look, he threw a bat, which I don't know he was wanting to hit with the bat, but it ended up hitting his hitting coach. There was a box of candy that got flown onto the field, and it's 6 games and a fine for Contreras. He's appealing. He's in the lineup tonight, right? So he's still going to play, but it's still something to have to deal with.
Yeah, he's appealing, therefore he gets to play. If he had started the suspension tonight as it was supposed to be, then he wouldn't be in there. Last night he seemed, when asked, hey, do you think you'll get suspended for this? He seemed taken aback by the question. So maybe this comes as a surprise to him. Maybe it doesn't. I am not surprised he got suspended. Maybe it feels a little heavy. I thought maybe there was no number that was going to surprise me, because when you mention, well, who was he trying to throw the bat at? The only logical answer is the umpire.
Yeah.
And so, and if that's the intent, not great. Again, I think he was in a fit of rage and didn't really know who he was throwing the bat toward, but it hit him and hit the hitting coach, which is not a great look. You asked about the bubble gum, the high chew as it was. I didn't see a video that showed Contreras heaving it onto the field.
Yeah, I don't know if it was him or not, but
I assume it was,
Yeah.
but I guess I didn't see specifically. You just saw the aftermath of that, and I wasn't at the ballpark last night. So, I mean, that part doesn't look great. The yelling part doesn't look great. I understand feeling like somebody's telling me I said something that I didn't say. That would set me off too.
Yeah.
Umpire was saying, hey, you told me this, and he told Ollie, hey, this is what he said to me. And Wilson said, no, I didn't. And then at a certain point, he began saying that thing over and over. So then eventually he definitely did say it. And if you can read lips, even like on a 5 out of 10 scale, you got what he said. And that's a problem. I didn't mind any of it other than the bat throw, to be honest with you. Like, he was arguing a strike that wasn't a bad call, and he said it's not the call that was the problem. He just wasn't calling it that way for our pitchers.
Right.
And so what I told him was call it both ways. And then the ump insisted Wilson said more than that. And Wilson says he didn't until a certain point. Don't throw the bat, though. That's the one thing that I think no number on the suspension would have surprised me, because that's the part that gets into some sticky territory.
Well, it's all right, though, because no one was in the building to see it anyway.
Not a soul was there. 17th. They finally announced under 20K,
Yeah.
and they'll do it again tonight.
Yeah.
But I will be in the building tonight. I'm
Okay.
going to go for myself to see how the attendance is looking.
There you go.
And so I'll make my pilgrimage after the show.
That'll be something to look forward to. Tune in on 100.5 FM KTGR to hear the Cardinals tonight. Their pregame coverage underway now. Stay tuned at 7 o'clock. The first edition of Tiger Talk is tonight. Head coach Eli Drinkwitz, the voice of the Tigers, Mike Kelly on hand live from Harpo's. So be sure to tune in for that at 7 p.m. right here on KTGR. And we'll see you at 4 o'clock tomorrow on the eve of the Mizzou football home opener. He's Brenden. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
From Branson Landing to the Capitol Dome, Union Station to the Tigers' home. Big old